Hi, I'm Sean with Catalina Rug, and in this video we're going to be covering 4 up-and-coming Persian rug workshops. So as you may know, some of the highest quality Persian rugs come from workshops, and in this video we'll be going over 4 of the workshops. We'll be getting into some of the details. For example, we'll talk about who the founder was, why they become famous, and what kind of rugs they were producing, from which region they were, and if they're still producing the rugs today. So stick around and we'll be getting into it now. So the first workshop we're going to be covering is called Astan Ghods Razavi, and this workshop is located in the city of Mashad. So they produce Mashad rugs in their workshop. And the city of Mashad, by the way, is the second biggest city in Iran, and they're known to produce some of the highest quality Persian rugs in terms of the types of Persian rugs. So this workshop is actually owned by a charitable organization, and initially this enterprise, this organization, was in the rug production business, but at a very small scale, and this is like prior to the revolution in Iran. And then what happened is, after the revolution, about 4 years after, they started getting into the rug production business at a larger scale and start focusing their attention on rug production. And they started becoming really well known for producing very high quality rugs, and they use very special dyes. So you'll find that the rugs from this workshop, they have really deep colors, like deep reds and deep blues, and really beautiful colors because of the dyes that it use. So this is one of the very famous workshops that comes from the city of Mashad. So the next workshop we're going to be covering, it's got a really interesting story behind it. It's called the Khadivi Workshop, which is also a workshop that comes from the city of Mashad. So the founder of the Khadivi Workshop is Khalil Khadavi. And this founder started the workshop in the 20th century. And what's really interesting is that he actually first started working with the Amoghli workshop, which is another very famous workshop from Mashad. And he was originally a designer and weaver at that workshop. And eventually he was doing such a good job that he became the foreman at the Amoghli workshop. And over time, as he was a foreman there, he started moonlighting and started creating his own rugs, designing and weaving his own rugs, but at a very small scale, like very few pieces. However, the pieces that he was making were such high quality that it started gaining traction, and people started getting interested to purchasing more and more. And that's when he decided to start setting up his own workshop and having his own signature and his own brand. So eventually he started working out of Mashad and some of the nearby cities, and his career started progressing, his workshop started progressing, and at the peak they had about 35 looms in production and several dozens of workers working underneath him. And now today the workshop is still running by one of his sons, and still producing these really famous and beautiful high quality Mashad rugs. So the next workshop we're going to be talking about comes from the city of Tabriz, and the workshop is called Shirfar. So this workshop is really famous for creating a lot of contemporary designs, and the workshop is actually not that old. It was set up in the 1990s by Naqi Shirfar, and what they're famous for is the contemporary designs and creating very innovative designs and really beautiful color combinations and unique color combinations. So this workshop is currently run by Naqi's 3 sons, and they do put signatures on all of their rugs, and they produce rugs with silk foundation, so not just cotton foundation Tabriz, but silk foundation, and they have really high knot density, and they use a lot of beautiful color combinations and light colors such as creams and red and yellows, and really unique pieces. So look out for this up-and-coming workshop. So the final workshop we're going to be talking about today is called Khizi Javan, and there's a really interesting backstory to this workshop. So this workshop, first of all, comes from the city of Tabriz. So they produce Tabriz rugs, and the word Javan in Farsi actually means young. And this is very relevant to this workshop because the owner, Khizi Javan, he started the workshop at a very early age of 24. And he was born in 1899, so this is over 100 years ago when he was born, and he set up his workshop in the 1920s. And so at first, when he began his workshop, he started producing a few rugs, and he only had 4 or 5 looms. And then because of his creativity and the designs and the really high-end production, the popularity of his workshop grew, and at its peak, his workshop had over 150 looms and over 200 skilled rug weavers working at the workshop producing these really high-end rugs. And Amir, when he grew up very poor, and once he became very successful with his workshop and became very well off, he was known for how much he was giving. He started giving back to the community in Tabriz and really taking care of the local community. So eventually, in 1974, he passed away, and then his son took over the rug production and continued producing for this workshop. And then in 2020, his son has already retired. So these rugs are no longer being produced, but they had a very long stretch of time where the rugs from Khizi Javan were being produced and creating really beautiful, very high-end, high knot density, and beautiful color combination rugs for the city of Tabriz. So this concludes our video on 4 up-and-coming Persian rug workshops. I hope you really enjoyed this video and you learned something from it. We also have another video on 4 other famous Persian rug workshops, and so you can check that out. Also, if you head over to our site, catalinarug.com, we have several posts about famous Persian rug workshops, so you can read more about them there. And if you want to read more about specific types of Persian rugs like Tabriz or Mashad, you could learn more about it there. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, then I invite you to like and subscribe and comment below, and I will see you in the next video.